Hello everyone, I hope all of you are in good health. I am here to present effect of media exposure on internalization of thin ideal and eating disorder among adolescents, self-esteem as mediator. I am Ajwa and currently studying BS Psychology from International Islamic University, Islamabad. In the research, there are four variables, that is media exposure. Media exposure is defined as the extent to which an audience have encountered specific messages from the media content. Thin ideal internalization refers to the degree at which a person internalizes the collective views about the society regarding a certain aspects that may be a beauty or in the form of appearance. Next is eating disorder. According to Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Psychology, eating disorders is defined as the persistent disturbances in eating behaviors that result in overconsumption or that impairs the physical as well as the psychosocial health of the individual. Sorry. Self-esteem is basically the positive or negative evaluation of individual one own self. uh, in order to measure or in order to assess the different attitudes of the participants, we have used four different scales. In order to measure the perceived media influence, we use multidimensional media influence scale. Ideal body stereotype scale is used to measure the internalization of ideal body stereotype, whereas eating attitude test is used to measure the presence of eating disorder. Rosenberg self-esteem scale is used to measure self-esteem. Uh, while discussing or while viewing different literature, we are able to know that there are very few studies that are conducted in Pakistan that basically focus on the concepts like thin ideal internalization or eating disorders. So the aim of this research is to identify that whether the people of this country or the people of this culture is also influenced by such practices, that the ideal body is the one that is curvy body, that is cylinder body, or the difference in internalization of the ideal self is different in both male and females. Also, eating disorders like bulimia nervosa and anorexia nervosa are usually common in West cultures. So we are also know that these cultures are also present or prevalent or are in common in our culture too or not. Also, previous literature cannot talk about the self-esteem or the role of self-esteem among all these variables. So in this research, we also try to find out the role of self-esteem among all these variables. This is the theoretical framework that media exposure is the independent variable, and there are two dependent variables. One is thin ideal internalization, and the other is eating disorders. And also self-esteem is a mediator that basically, sorry, mediates the relationship between two of them. On the basis of the theoretical framework, we have made the hypothesis that there is a positive relationship between media exposure and internalization of thin ideal. It means that the people who are more vulnerable to the content that is known on media. Media can be in any form, like that is, it may be a social media, it may be a print media, or any sort of media. So the more people watch such type of shows, such type of dramas, or such type of any content, they more are prone. They more like things that the ideal body is the one that is perfect in shape, that perfect hourglass body, or in female or in male, it is like the gym boys are having biceps, having triceps. Such type of bodies are considered as the ideal body, whereas it also considered as a negative effect of relationship of self-esteem. As self-esteem, I told you earlier that self-esteem is basically a positive or negative evaluation of oneself. If the person is having a positive evaluation, if the person is having a positive outcome of her own self or of himself, there is a chances that he considered what is shown on media, or what people are portraying on media is not true. There is a chance that is a negative effect of all these things. Next, it has been seen that the females are more conscious about their bodies, because it maybe sometimes it is because of the cultural influences, and sometimes such standards are promoted through our culture or through the media. So there is a high probability of having eating disorders in female as compared to boys, or boys have relatively high self-esteem as compared to girls. These are basically the hypotheses. Sample. Our sample includes 500 participants, in which 262 are males and 238 are females. We broadly categorize adolescents into two categories just for our convenience. First are early adolescents, which are basically 37% in number, and late adolescents, which are 63% in number. Uh, we have categorized them, like early adolescents are from 15 to 17, and the late adolescents from 17 to 19. And we also use the non-probability sampling technique here. Next are results and discussion. After collecting the data and after collecting the information from the participants, the statistical analysis shows that the media exposure do have a positive relationship with ideal internalization, and it was basically supported by many of the theories and many of the cultivation theory, that the people thinks that what is showing on the media or what is happening on the media is basically the true thing, is basically the true thing. They basically they have the idea that what shows media is happening in the real world. So whenever they saw such models, such people, so they try to have, or they try to have that particular body or that particular avatar. What you say? Next is media exposure and eating disorder. It is also seen a positive relationship between two of them. It means that whenever person, or whenever the female, or whenever the people think of the ideal body, they try to achieve that body, and in order to achieve that body, they are involving in unhealthy practices like dieting, like exercising too much, like not taking much of the nutrition, that will lead them to have eating disorder. One of the research has conducted which reveals that individuals, the females which are having a bulimic nervosa, are more prone to media exposure. Next, we move to self-esteem. Self-esteem do play a mediating role between all of these variables. Self-esteem has a negative effect with thin ideal internalization. It means that if the person is involved in a positive, or have the positive self-regard or positive attitude towards his self, he is more known of his own worth. So it doesn't matter what is shown on media. He is not easily influenced by the media. This is the graph basically which depicts our result findings. It means that eating disorders are more prevalent in females as compared to males, and whereas a thin ideal body, whether in case of male or whether in case of female, there is a non-significant difference. It means that both of them want to achieve the ideal body and want to meet the predetermined set of the society. Next is self-esteem. We have the hypothesis that boys have comparatively high self-esteem as compared to girls, but this is not the case. There is a non-significant difference between self-esteem of both of the genders. There are certain limitations of the study. First of all, it is that results are not generalizable. We have included adolescents in our research, but we cannot say that we can generalize these results to the whole population. Also, we have used the convenience sampling. Like most of our in most in the research in this research, most of the participants are certainly belongs to from the university student or the college student or the student from the matriculation level. So it is not basically the generalizable to the whole population. There are several suggestions too, that it is necessary to educate the parents and the caregivers about the potential impact of media. Like the caregivers or parents should know that it is not necessary to follow the trends on the media, rather than educate the children about the positive self-image, and this will help to develop a positive self-esteem among their children. So here I conclude all the study that the study majorly investigate the relationship between media and eating disorders. And yes, females are high on eating attitudes as compared to males. And self-esteem plays a mediating role between the media, internalization, and eating disorders. That's all from my side. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.